So today we have Teresa Whiteside with us, and she is the director of Evangelization and Catechesis. And really, we just want to get to know Teresa more. She is involved in all different aspects of the parish, many times behind the scenes, but I'd love to know her story. So wanted to share this with everybody. Teresa, welcome. And can you maybe start a little bit about your background and how did you get involved with your faith? Where did God call you to serve him?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up across the river, and I certainly didn't know as a child that like an intimate and personal relationship with God was something that I could have. In fact, I remember listening to that song, "Here I Am, Lord," and I was about 8 years old. And I remember being like, "Oh, God, are you talking to me?" And then like laughing that off, like, "Oh, God doesn't talk to people like me. God only talks to those superhero saints and these characters from the Old Testament." As life went on, some, difficult things happened in my family life, and my parents divorced. And I was very angry with God. It was my 8th grade year. And I was like, "That's it. I'm done. I don't want to have anything to do with you." I really tried to fight being confirmed, not really sure what purpose I had in life and not making the best decisions. And my mom, that saintly woman that she was a little concerned for me. And so was like, "Well, you need to start going to youth group." I was very mad about this. I did not want to hang out with the youth group kids. Was not interested in who Jesus was. I frankly saw God as like a liar and a fraud because my life wasn't working out the way that I thought it should. And so for 2 years, I went. And when I was there, I pretended that I was one of them, and then went and spent the rest of my week ignoring God and behaving in a way that was not very Christian. But my junior year of high school, right at the end, will actually be 15 years this May. Very excited to celebrate that. I was invited on a retreat, and we were in Eucharistic adoration in this little cabin in the middle of the woods. And I was looking at the monstrance, Jesus, and I was filled with a lot of shame. I was making some pretty terrible choices at that point in my life, and I didn't want to look at Jesus and the monstrance anymore. So I ran outside to a picnic table, was texting some of my friends back home, when all of a sudden these 2 skunks came up and surrounded me.
Oh my.
I really wanted to be well liked. I wanted to be popular. And so I couldn't be the stinky girl on retreat. So I had to run back inside. And I love that God in that moment used my disordered desire for other people's approval to draw me back into his presence. Right. And when I came back into Eucharistic adoration, I just felt it's like very gentle invitation from the Lord to go to confession. And I had really been opposed to the sacrament of confession. I didn't understand the church's teaching on the male-only priesthood, but I felt such a gentle invitation in that moment, and I knew the priest in the confessional very well. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And for the first time in 4 years since my confirmation, but really for the first time ever in my life, I went into the confessional and I confessed my sins, and I earnestly desired forgiveness and reconciliation. And the priest who offered me the sacrament put his hands on my head to absolve me. And like, I literally felt weight lifted from me. And like a very supernatural joy that carried me through the next weeks and months and helped me to like make some pretty radical changes in my life, to commit to daily prayer. And I definitely have had a lot of struggles and have fallen, and there's not been any perfection, but from that moment, I've never really looked back and just pursued greater intimacy and relationship with Jesus.
Man, that's awesome. And isn't that true, right? None of us get this perfection or this perfect walk in the roses after this experience with God and this conversion. The reality is it's tough, and we fall down, and they say the difference between saints and sinners is the saints just got up one more time, right? So yeah. We just got to keep getting up. Well, that's awesome. And so how did that pull you into a calling to do ministry?
Yeah, so I was heading into my senior year of high school. That's this pivotal moment in what are you going to do with your life? And I had always had the plans with my high school girlfriends that we were going to go to OU together and rush sororities and have the time of our life. And I just knew that if I did that, I wasn't going to be able to stay strong to the promises I had made to God. And so I actually got involved with an organization called Net Ministries.
Yeah.
And after high school, I took a gap year to do a year of service.
I didn't know you did that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Net is a traveling team of missionaries who do retreats for middle school and high school students to invite them into a deeper relationship with God.
And you travel all around the U.S., right?
I did, yeah. 14 states.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so when I was on Net, it really, solidified my prayer life. So they teach you very well how to pray. So I really committed to daily personal prayer. Also, God did a lot of healing in my identity. Just knowing that I was his daughter, that he didn't primarily want to use me for any great mission or use me to bring others to him. That was all secondary. That ultimately I was his daughter and he was my father who loved me and just wanted to be in relationship with me.
You went from Net Ministry to what? How did you end up at St. Brendan's?
When I came home from Net, I went to Ohio Dominican where I studied theology and philosophy. During the summers, I worked at Catholic Youth Summer Camp on program staff. And then towards the end of college, I actually started working on their administrative staff, doing outreach. That was when I first met Father Bob. He was the pastor here at St. Brendan and supporting camp a lot, so we worked together in that role. But when I graduated college, I got a job at St. Andrew, which was the parish I grew up in, as their coordinator of high school youth ministry.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, youth ministry was critical and such a transformational moment in my life. And so I love the fact that you've done so much work there and had such wonderful experiences there. And now to work with the families, that is such a challenge because it's such a much broader group that you're trying to reach with people at so many different levels.
The kids who are coming to my program from these amazing families who, not perfect, but trying their best to love God and to share their faith with their kids, really what I did was just support. And then the kids who came to me who didn't have that support at home, I could help patch some of that and help steer them a little bit in a new direction, but nothing could replace the family. And so that's when Father Bob and I had a conversation about adult faith formation and my desire to help form adults so that they could form their children as the church intends.
Well, I thank you for sharing your heart and your life and your call to serve the Lord. I appreciate all that you do in the parish, and I hope that this lets people get to know you and that your heart is in this and you're doing just such a great job. So once again, we just want to thank you all for joining us today. Know that you are loved and not forgotten, that you are part of our parish family, and we hope to see you soon. We pray you have a blessed week. God bless.